Hello, welcome to God's Wisdom for Working Women. I am your host, Madrelyn Parham. The purpose of this channel is to provide biblical content and biblical solutions for women as they face critical workplace issues. Today's video will explore the issue of low workplace morale and some of the factors that contribute to it. We will begin by asking the question, what is employee morale? What is employee morale? Employee morale is defined as the attitude, the satisfaction, and the overall outlook of employees during their association with an organization or business. When morale is high, there is a positive feeling about the workplace that leads to high productivity and high efficiency. Whereas when morale is low, negative workplace feelings are typical that result in decreased productivity and decreased efficiency. Nevertheless, employee morale affects productivity and it affects efficiency. Today, I want to address 3 issues that lead to low morale in the workplace. 3 issues. Those issues are ineffective communication, a lack of trust among leadership, and low pay. The first issue is ineffective communication. Ineffective communication. Well, the Bible has a lot to say about communication. It warns us not to speak rashly or harshly, not to argue, to think before we speak, and not to talk too much. We communicate through emails, through text messages, workplace apps, and all other types of platforms. Yet these devices do not necessarily lead to effective communication. Proverbs 16:23 says this, "From a wise mind comes wise speech. The words of the wise are persuasive." The wise mind leads to effective communication. So, how does a wise mind effectively communicate in the workplace? What can an employer do to make sure communication is clear and concise? One thing an employer can do is to make sure the employee knows the expectations of their job. Make sure the job description is clear. Allow the employee time to review the job description and ask questions for items that might be vague or unclear. When changes are made to the job description, communicate those changes to the employee in a timely manner. Try to communicate in person as much as possible. In our day of emails and text messages, it's just so easy to send out an email or a text message, but some things just need to be communicated in person. Try to communicate in person as much as possible. One can easily understand the frustration employees experience when job expectations are not communicated clearly. It is even more frustrating to receive a poor job evaluation due to unclear job expectations. Job expectations should be clear. When employees are doing well, encourage them. And when they are struggling, steer them correctly with compassion. Proverbs 12:18 says this, "The tongue of the wise brings healing." So steer them in the right direction. In other words, help them to get on the right path. The second issue is a lack of trust between leadership and subordinates. A lack of trust between leadership and subordinates. I recently read this quote from a leadership article that says this, "A lack of trust in the workplace is the virus that can create a diseased workplace culture." We all know a lot about viruses. Viruses spread when there is no immunity against them. One thing employers can do to eliminate the virus of mistrust is simply to tell the truth. Build a strong defense against mistruths and misinformation by being truthful. Granted, there are definitely things that employers cannot share with subordinates, but when an employee comes with a matter of concern, speak truthfully with them. Sometimes solutions cannot be arrived at immediately, and that should be communicated to the employee. Saying one thing in their face and something else behind closed doors is deception, and it is sinful. Saying things to appease and leading one to think that everything is okay is also deceptive, and it should not be practiced. Let the employee know I hear your concerns, but at this time I'm not able to act upon this request for this particular reason. You could even go further and tell the employee we can revisit this matter later. This will allow the employer time to reach a viable solution. It's better to be honest and say I don't have an answer at this time, rather than to lead one to thinking that you hear them and you promise to do something when you know you have no intentions of doing so. This definitely leads to low morale. Your reputation for not being honest will spread, and employees will not trust you. Your reputation should be of such that those who work for you will say, you might not like what she has to say, but she's honest. She keeps her word. So how do you do this? Keep your word. Matthew 5:37 says this, let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. Keep your word. The third and final issue that affects low morale is low pay. Yes, low pay. As an employer, you should pay employees a fair and living wage. Malachi chapter 3 verse 5 says, God will judge those who oppress the wage earner his wages. Low pay leads to low morale, no exceptions. People should be paid a living wage. Everyone has the same basic needs, which are food, clothing, and shelter. Yet I would add transportation, utilities, insurance, student loans, and child care. The struggle to meet basic needs is becoming harder and harder for the average worker. Everything is going up. This causes many underpaid workers to seek second jobs to supplement the lack. Let's understand that the amount of money we earn does not determine our value to God. It might determine it to other people, but not to God. God gives us value because we are His. We are made in His image and His likeness. This gives us value. However, this does not relieve employees of the responsibility of ensuring that all employees are paid fairly, especially the most vulnerable. Those who clean the facilities, those who serve food, those who provide information, those who take care of the lawn, are they given the same salary consideration as those in high-level positions? In other words, are they viewed as valuable? Some who've gone to college and have earned degrees are still not earning living wages. This can lead to a constant revolving door in your organization because people will go other places where a better salary is offered. Then what should be the response of employers? If you have the ability to pay people more, do so. Listen to the concerns of employees when they ask for a pay increase. But most of all, listen to God. Ask Him what to do and how to do it. Ask the Lord if the employee's request is reasonable. Are they asking for enough money, or are they asking for too much? Ask the Lord if you have a blind spot regarding salaries. So what should be our response when morale is low in the workplace? Workplace morale is just as much the responsibility of the employee as the employer. As an employee, are you a part of the problem or are you a part of the solution? Are you honoring the Lord by coming to work and doing the job you've been trusted with? If you recall from our past videos, we are called to guard our attitudes when things are not going well. At times, God will place us in difficult situations for our growth and spiritual maturity. This place can be called the refiner's fire, a place where qualities of character and righteousness are forged in a furnace of affliction. Sometimes the refiner's fire of low morale is what God uses to purify and perfect us. I want to close with an account in Scripture of David's response when morale was low. In 1 Samuel chapter 30, it shows the despair that David and his army experienced when the city of Ziklag was burned and their wives and children were taken captive. The morale was so bad that the men were thinking of stoning David. They became bitter in spirit because of what had happened to their families. Talk about low morale. These men had lost confidence in their leader. But verse 6 says this: David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. When morale is low, When the boss can't be trusted and the pay is low, encourage yourself in the Lord. Sometimes uncontrollable circumstances can lead to low employee morale, and sometimes things that can be controlled can lead to low employee morale. Whatever the circumstance, encourage yourself in the Lord your God. If you have been encouraged by this video, I ask that you will subscribe to this channel and share it with others. I can be contacted at wisdomforworkingwomen@gmail.com. Next time, we will look at how our words can hurt and heal our co-workers. I'm your host, Madril Empowerment. Remember this, God's wisdom is at work in you. God bless you. We'll see you next time.